Part 111. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1101. Mrs. Wu was very sympathetic. You have 2 children to take care of, and you are pregnant with 2 more. You have to socialize outside and take care of the housework at home. At this time, I hope you don't have that job. It is really too hard. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, sometimes I feel the same way when I am tired, but when I think about the fulfilling work and see the children's smiling faces, I suddenly feel less tired. The most important thing is that I have family members at home to help take care of the children. Regarding housework, in the army, you can take your children to the army for meals, and your comrades will help take care of the children. As long as the father is free, he will do the housework. If Lu Zhang is not willing to share the housework with her, then she will definitely be angry and will have to choose between family and work, but hasn't Lu Zhang always devoted himself to his family? He is not the kind of person who quits doing housework when he comes back from work. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu is very satisfied with the current situation and feels very happy. If you think so, it shows that Lu Zhang has done a pretty good job. Mrs. Wu's tone softened slightly. However, I still have to remind you that we lesbians should not live too hard. A family is a family of 2 people, so we should not. It's up to you alone. What nonsense are you talking about? Just teach your children some crooked ways, Wu Zhen interjected. Mrs. Wu looked at him sideways. What is a crooked way? I think you have old ideas in your mind. Look at the lesbians in the yard. Those who have no jobs and only do housework to take care of the children and the elderly are scolded for not making money. They have jobs and can't take care of them. Children and old people are scolded as not being virtuous, but why don't you gays earn money and be virtuous at the same time? Wu Zheng surrendered quickly. Yes, I can't say anything to you. You are right. You are right. Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but laugh. Didn't this happen decades later? Have some clues been revealed now? There are always some people who hope that their wives can both earn money and take care of the family. What a beautiful idea. If you think about it carefully, it's not surprising. Because, when women in this era have the opportunity to work, they are treated as men, and men are treated as cattle. This is especially obvious during the busy farming season, and they are really comparable to cattle. Feng Qingxiu felt sorry for her family. After sending some things to her family in her previous life, she went to the grocery store and bought some pig meat. In addition, she took out some fresh meat and bacon sausages from the space to take home. I couldn't digest it after eating it at night, and I couldn't deliver it to them at noon. So I simply processed it the night before and hid it in the space. I got up before dawn the next day and stewed a large pot with soaked dried vegetables and cooked it again. 20 or 30 meat pies, leave some for the family, and ask Guancheng to send some to the old people who were sent down to the countryside. After eating, they went to the fields and had a good meal. Within a few days, it was time to set off. At this time, the Wanglu Brigade's harvest was coming to an end. The last cart of grain was being loaded into the warehouse, and heavy rain was pouring down. Being able to complete the harvest in such a short period of time was beyond everyone's expectations. It went so smoothly. Not a drop of rain fell, and the sun was very strong. After the threshing, the wheat grains were cleaned and put into the warehouse. Not only did it save money, manpower and time are saved. What makes everyone happy the most is that it rains right after harvesting, making it easier for the next step of farming. Zibao is really a lucky star. Wang Zhenqiu hugged Zibao and kissed her fiercely, causing Zibao to hide in stubble. Uncle and Grandpa, it hurts. Zibao tried to hide, but couldn't hide. He covered Wang Zhenqiu's mouth with both hands. Zibao is a Zibao, not a blessing. My sister is a blessing. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1102. Hearing that Feng Qingxiu was going back to the army, Grandpa Lusan braved the heavy rain and came to find him on crutches. How about leaving Zibao at home? Grandpa Lusan said this, immediately shocking everyone. Leave Zibao at home? Feng Qingxiu has no such intention at all. Although it is really tiring to take care of two children, she is reluctant to let the children leave her side and does not want them to become left behind children. Third Grandpa, God's Lord, only God can do it, and it has nothing to do with Zibao. Don't believe in Master Shan's words. Grandpa Lusan glanced at her and said, you don't want me to believe what blind Shan says, but you call him master. What's the point? Obviously you also believe what blind Shan says. There is no doubt that Zibao is a lucky star. Is Zibao a lucky star? Zibao sat on Wang Zhenqiu's lap and pointed to his nose. Yes, Zibao, how about you stay at home and live with your grandpa and brother? Grandpa Lusan directly pointed the finger at his little great-grandson. Let your grandpa take you to ride horses every day, and give everyone delicious food you eat. Zibao's head turned to Feng Qingxiu. Mom and I are together. The little guy is quite clever and has a sweet mouth. Grandpa Lusan refused to give up. You are already a big kid. You don't need to nurse or follow your mother. You live with Grandpa every day now, and you will live with Grandpa in the future. Grandpa, Zibao jumped down and ran to Father Lu's arms to nestle in his arms. Grandpa, let's go together. Yes, with Grandpa. Grandpa Lusan smiled so hard that his eyebrows almost flew up, and he did not hesitate to induce, Zibao, my great-grandpa told you that your mother is already very tired from taking care of your sister, and she will give you many more babies in the future. My little brother is too busy alone and is too tired to even have time to eat. How about you stay at home to reduce the burden on your mother? You are at home, everyone loves you, so many grandparents, uncles, aunts, and uncles, all treat you as my treasure and do whatever you want, okay? If she really treated Zibao like this, Feng Qingxiu would not dare to leave her son at home. If adults pamper her too much, it is easy to raise a selfish naughty child. Her son is very well behaved and must not become a naughty child. No matter how smart Zibao is, he will not quickly understand what Grandpa Lusan means. His head swayed with Grandpa Lusan's words, his eyes were like circles, and he only heard one sentence in his mind, great, Zibao is going to be a brother. Mom will give birth to a brother, and I can take care of him. My brother is playing. Brother, Fu Bao was also very happy. Zibao is still young, what's the use of my old man telling him? Grandpa Lusan was a little discouraged. After all, it still depends on the adult's decision. He quickly looked at Father Lu. Ziwen, what do you mean? You also convinced Ajiang's wife that there is no harm in leaving the child at home. Those old men who are devolved can teach Zibao a few things, which will be enough for Zibao to use for his whole life. I ask what the living conditions are like in the Border Defense Force. After crossing Ajiang, there is no way it can compare with the living environment of our Wanglu Brigade. Father Lu was a little moved when he heard this. It was not because of whether Zibao was a lucky star or not, but because he was concerned about Zibao's studies. He had heard from Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu that the teachers at the school for children of the Border Defense Forces were all educated young people selected from their families. This would not delay Zibao's studies. A lifetime treasure. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1103. Feng Qingxiu was worried that Father Lu would agree to Grandpa Lusan's proposal, so she hurriedly called him, Dad, Zibao is so young and in the growing stage, how can he leave the company of his parents? In a child's life, no one can you cannot replace your parents. Being away from your parents for a long time can easily cause estrangement, which is not conducive to getting along in the future. Besides, no matter how hard life is, as long as she is around, there will be enough nutritious supplies. The living environment of Wanglu Brigade is better than that of the Border Defense Force. What about supplies? Father Lu opened his mouth, but before he could say a word, he heard someone knocking on the door outside. It was raining heavily outside and the sound of the ground was very loud, so it took a long time for them to hear the knock on the door. Guancheng vaguely heard Zhang He's voice calling the door, so he quickly went out to open the door with an umbrella, and sure enough it was him. Holding an umbrella in one hand and holding an enamel basin full of jelly in the other. It's raining so hard, even if you're shirtless, you're not afraid of freezing, Guancheng complained. Zhang He said with a smile, who would freeze on a hot day? When he arrived at the house, he ignored his pants that were rolled up to his knees and were half wet from the rain. He put the enamel basin on the table, greeted Grandpa Lu-san, Father Lu, and Wang Zhenqiu one after another, and smiled at Feng Qingxiu. Snow Auntie, I don't have to work because it's raining today, so Arya made a lot of jelly and asked me to bring some to you and mix it up for lunch. Your life is not easy. You need to take care of so many children. You can just feed yourself? What can you give us? Look at you, braving such heavy rain, not even wearing a coat, not afraid of freezing. Feng Qingxiu was a little embarrassed. Zibao likes to eat jelly, but it is almost universally known that she cannot make jelly. It's not that she's never done it before, but the jelly she makes is half dry and half wet, and she always stirs it unevenly. What's dry is just lumps of sweet potato starch that haven't melted with the water, which is a waste of the sweet potato starch that was finally washed out, that is, starch. Aunt Chue, as you said, I didn't send you anything that we couldn't take out. We accepted the things you sent and brought to us without being polite to you. What's wrong with sending a basin of jelly? Not to mention one basin, 100 basins, 1,000 basins, it's all appropriate. Zhang He was filled with gratitude to Feng Qingxiu, who had been secretly supporting them all these years. Like Guancheng Guanyu, he had long regarded Feng Qingxiu as a close relative. Without the money she gave them, they would not have been able to go to school. After hearing Zhang He's words, Feng Qingxiu immediately smiled, asked him to sit down, and asked Feng Qingyun to pour him a bowl of hot water. Here, sugar water. Feng Qingyun handed it to him. Zhang He smiled at her. Thank you, Auntie, he shouted along with Guancheng, not embarrassed to say it because Feng Qingyun was younger than him. Who said Feng Qingyun was Feng Qingxiu's sister? Feng Qingyun walked away with a smile like an elder, and squatted in front of Fu Bao to help her turn the flower rope. The arrival of Zhang He made everyone suspend their previous topics together. Although Blind Shan said that Zibao was a lucky star, they did not mean to make it public, and only a few elders knew about it. Feng Qingxiu wished that everyone would not ask to keep Zibao at home, and looked at Zhang He, who had grown into a young man. Zhang He, you are about the same age as Akin and Tianwan. You must tell me when you plan to get married. And when Arya gets married, even if I am in the army, I will send you gifts. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1104. After listening to Feng Qingxiu's words, Zhang He couldn't help but sigh. Arya and I have a heavy burden and can't leave our brothers and sisters behind. How can anyone help me find a matchmaker? There is someone who can find a matchmaker for Arya. The condition is Arya can no longer take care of our family's affairs after marriage. Arya didn't agree. I persuaded her that the children below are older and I can take care of them, but she still didn't want to. Among their brothers and sisters, it is easy for girls to find a husband when they grow up, because there are more boys than girls in every village, including the Wanglu Brigade, but it is not easy for boys to find wives. Feng Qingxiu frowned. It's okay that you are a young man, Arya is a girl, and girls have a limited period of flowering. I said the same thing, but I can't persuade Arya. Arya has become accustomed to being the master of the family over the years and has a very stubborn temper. Jong Hee chuckled. I told Arya that if no one marries her within 3 years, I will marry her. This means that the wealth does not flow to outsiders. Guan Cheng interrupted, didn't Arya hit you on the head with a rolling pin? As the eldest among the girls, Arya and her younger sisters take care of all the housework. She also has to protect her younger siblings from being bullied, so she has developed a particularly violent temper. If Feng Qingxiu is gentle water, then Arya is manic fire. Zhang He smiled sheepishly, not to mention that Arya chased him for 3 miles with a rolling pin and didn't even give him dinner, saying that his description was too vulgar and that she was a human being, not excrement. Feng Qingxiu noticed a little tenderness and attachment in Zhang He's eyes when he mentioned Zhang Arya, and her heart moved slightly. Okay, she's not worried anymore. Zhang He and Zhang Arya were clearly interested in each other. They were probably used to getting along day and night and didn't know how to deal with the coming of love. Before leaving, they had to tell Guan Cheng to promote the development of the two of them, so as not to miss out on the great opportunity just because of embarrassment. Marriage. Okay, the jelly has been delivered. My mission is completed. I'm going back. Zhang He was thinking about Zhang Arya and his younger brothers and sisters, and left without hesitation. As soon as he left, he got back to business. Zaiwen, Zioxiu, for the sake of my old bones running all the way here in the rain, can you give me an accurate answer as to whether you agree to let Zibao stay at home? Grandpa Lu-san thought more and more as he looked at Zibao. The more I like him, the happier he looks, everyone likes him and wants to laugh, Blind Shan is an expert, we would rather believe him or not. Father Lu spread his hands and said, I respect Zioxiu and Zibao's wishes. In my opinion, nothing external can compare to the happiness of a child. Indeed, as Zioxiu said, children without their parents will not be happy. Zibao is only 5 years old, and now he is 7 years old when he goes to school. It is not too late to start studying in a few years. Feng Qingxiu felt relieved. If Lu's father didn't interfere, Grandpa Lu-san's proposal could be ignored. No matter how senior the old man was and how reasonable his words were, he was not qualified to force Zibao to stay at home. However, Grandpa Lu-san looked very sad. He is not angry. Although he is old and senior, he is sensible and understands what Lu's father and Feng Qingxiu mean. There is nothing wrong with leaving Zibao living alone at home with Lu's father. It is reasonable for parents to be worried. Thinking that Wanglu Brigade's crops were related to the people's rations, Grandpa Lu-san couldn't help but ask again, really not possible? No, Feng Qingxiu was decisive, leaving no room for negotiation. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1105. Grandpa Lu-san turned to Zibao and asked, Zibao, where are you? Is it okay if you don't go with Mom? The old man said it pitifully, almost begging. I'm very obedient, Zibao said matter-of-factly, which meant that she listened to her mother, not Grandpa Lu-san. Mom and I have something to eat. We also have fruits in our fields. We have mission melons this year. We have planted 2 acres of mountain land. The watermelons will be ripe in a few days. When my great-grandfather was picking melons, he deliberately broke one and took out the red pulp for the bride. Eat them. Grandpa Lu-san rolled his eyes and immediately had an idea. My great-great-grandfather planted some small melons in his private plot. When they are ripe, they will be picked only for Zibao to eat. Zibao shook his head and said, Grandpa, eat it? Oh, Zibao, why are you so good? You know how to respect your great-grandfather at such a young age. Grandpa Lu-san patted his heart and praised Zibao, it would be better if you stayed and lived with Grandpa. Why do you still say this? Zibao was a little annoyed and buried his face in Feng Qingxiu's arms. Mom is the best, of course living with her. "Mom, I want to eat meat." Zibeo was so greedy that he drooled after not eating meat for several days. Father Lu immediately said, "Achan, I'll kill the old hen at home and stew it later. We can't let our grandson and granddaughter not have a bite of meat before leaving. The old hen won't lay eggs anyway, so use it. You don't have to wait until the holidays to kill them." Guancheng responded with a smile. Zibeo jumped up and cheered, "Thank you, Grandpa, thank you, Brother Achan." "Thank you, Grandpa, thank you, Brother Achan." Fu Bao's clumsy fingers turned the rope until it became knotted, and he did not forget to join in the fun. Guancheng wore a raincoat and went to the chicken coop to catch the old hen that Lu's father mentioned. He cut its throat with a knife and gurgling blood flowed into the bowl. The old hen went from fluttering to dying, but Feng Qingyun had quickly boiled a pot of water. "Pour it into the sink." Zibeo watched back and forth, watching Guancheng push the old hen into the basin and pluck the feathers quickly. Grandpa Lu-san was still a little unwilling to give up in the main room. After being rejected repeatedly, he sighed, "How about taking Zibeo home often in the future? When you two are at home, our Wanglu brigade is really good luck. Third Grandpa, Ajiang and I are soldiers, so we can't decide on our own vacations." Feng Qingxiu felt soft-hearted and couldn't bear the disappointment of the old men. She thought for a while and said, "Otherwise, we won't be able to come back. Every spring, Dad or Achan can go to the army and take Zibeo home for a while. I believe Zibeo will be very happy. The reason why it is set at the beginning of spring is because God's mercy is most needed during spring plowing, and because it is easy for border guards to come in and out in summer and autumn, but it is different in winter, when heavy snow often closes the mountains." Speaking of this, Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but said, "Actually, God really has no relationship with Zibeo. His natural luck is better than that of ordinary people, but it is definitely not good enough to affect the climate change of the world. Even if Zibeo has Bao, if you plant a grain of wheat, you won't get an acre of crops. If the weather is bad when Zibeo is at home, you can't rely on us Zibeo. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. If there is a chance to bring Zibeo back, it is worse than nothing. Think about the years when Feng Qingxiu and Zibeo were not at home, the harvest was not as good as each year, and there was almost not enough food." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1106. After a delicious meal of chicken soup, Sister Feng Qingxiu took Zibeo and Fuebeo on their way back to the army. They left quietly without disturbing the fellow villagers, especially Grandpa Lu-san, who wanted to keep Zibeo at home. They only said goodbye in advance to the old people who had been sent down, the Wang Zhenkuo brothers and sisters, and others. Despite their busy schedule, Guancheng and his two younger brothers still put them in the car, and then sent a telegram to the army to Lujiang before returning. Fortunately, Feng Qingyun was brought with her to take care of the two children, and the conductor Xiao Wang was there to help. Otherwise, Feng Qingxiu would have wanted to die. She started vomiting as soon as she got on the train, and she vomited so hard that bile came out of her vomiting. Moreover, she would vomit whatever she ate, which scared Fu Bao to tears several times. "Fu Bao doesn't cry, Fu Bao doesn't cry." Feng Qingyun hugged her niece again and said seriously, "Mom is very sad, so Fu Bao must obey my brother and don't worry my mother." "Sister, don't cry." Zibeo pulled the lapel of his coat and wiped Fuebeo's tears like an older brother. Fu Bao climbed out of his aunt's arms, climbed to Feng Qingxiu, and blew air into her face. "Mom, it hurts." "Just blow it and it won't hurt anymore," she blew loudly, making Feng Qingxiu's face drool. I don't know if it was the heat or the pregnancy reaction, but Feng Qingxiu felt uncomfortable all over, but she was very moved in her heart. She touched her daughter's little face and said, Well, Fu Bao has made my mother feel less uncomfortable anymore. Fu Bao is so good. Mom likes Fu Bao the most. Mom, be good. Mom, go to bed. Fu Bao was very sensible at this time. Feng Qingxiu was so uncomfortable that she couldn't sleep at all, but she still lay down as her daughter wished, and placed her daughter inside. Fortunately, neither mother nor daughter were fat, and the narrow berth could accommodate them. Fu Bao fell asleep quickly, while Feng Qingxiu still had her eyes open, thinking about the knowledge she had recently learned in her mind. She originally planned to make good use of her time on the return trip to study and carefully study the manuscripts of Guoming and Wen Ruyu. Now that the pregnancy reaction is so severe, it would be more comfortable to lie down, and the plan almost came to nothing. Then think about it in your mind. If you think about it a few times and think about it more, you will always gain something. When it was time to eat, Feng Qingxiu forced herself to eat some clear soup noodles, and the eggs in the bowl were given to Feng Qingyun. Zibao and Fuebao shared a bowl of noodles, while Fuebao only ate a few bites of noodles. He was very grateful for the flour rolls sold in the car, so Feng Qingxiu bought 3 scallion oil flour rolls for each of them. Not long after eating, the train clanked, and Feng Qingxiu vomited out all the food she had eaten. She vomited so quickly and violently that she even sprayed it out of her nostrils. Fortunately, Xiao Wang was used to preparing a toilet for them, otherwise the sour smell would have filled the box. "Sister, are you okay?" Feng Qingyun quickly turned over, walked to her side, reached out and patted her back, her eyes full of worry. "You were not like this when you were pregnant with Zibao, why are you vomiting like this?" "Awesome. You vomit everything you eat, so what do you take to supplement it? Children also need nutrition." After Feng Qingxiu finished vomiting, she stood up and stroked her chest. "It's okay, it's just that the reaction was a bit severe." Taking the handkerchief handed over by her crying daughter, Feng Qingxiu wiped the corners of her mouth and nose, put her hand into her hair, and pushed the messy hair back. "It's really okay, don't worry." "How could you not be worried?" Feng Qingyun was almost worried to death. It wouldn't work if it continued like this. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1107. Feng Qingyun almost pulled out her hair after helping her sister to rest on the berth. "Sister, you are a doctor, can't you prescribe some antiemetics for yourself?" At this point, Feng Qingyun knocked her head hard. "I'm really confused. A good cook can't cook without rice, there are only a few common medicines in our luggage, and there is no antiemetic medicine at all. What I said is useless, and there should be no antiemetics on the train." "Antiemetics?" Feng Qingxiu thought for a while. "I'll take a nap first. Xiaoun, if the conductor comrade comes, please ask her to find us a piece of ginger. Ginger slices can stop vomiting. I'll try to see if it works." "Okay. Sister, you take a rest, I'll take care of Zibao and Fuebao. It's good to have a way." Zibao and Fuebao are very well behaved. They didn't go out to walk around, but lay obediently on the side of the berth, without saying a word, not causing trouble for their mother, and Feng Qingyun's heart melted into water. It's really worry-free. Feng Qingyun didn't dare to rest. When he saw the conductor passing by, he immediately called him and made his plea. This was a young conductor. After listening to Feng Qingyun's request, he nodded and said, "Wait a moment. I will bring it back to you when I pass by the dining car after my inspection. I will also get some hot water for you." Thank you, comrade, thank you." Feng Qingyun was grateful. The conductor's service attitude was really good. This conductor not only brought ginger and boiled water, but also a pack of biscuits and an apple with a bad appearance and wrinkled skin. I asked my colleagues who have given birth. They said that eating some fruit can relieve it. If you vomit a lot, you can also eat some biscuits to fill your stomach. You can't eat nothing. Feng Qingyun's eyes turned red all of a sudden, and he murmured, thank you everyone. The other party smiled heartily, you're welcome. When you go out, don't we just help each other? You said your sister is inside, go and take care of your sister. I remember you also brought 2 children. Comrade, what's your name? You helped us so much, I don't even know who the benefactor is. That's not necessary. It's our duty to serve the people. No, you must tell me, otherwise when my sister gets better, who can we thank? Feng Qingyun was very stubborn, if you don't tell me, I won't let you go. Let's see how you can continue to work. The conductor was a little helpless. Okay, I'll tell you, my name is Li Jiaoyang, the scorching Sunday. Li Jiaoyang, Feng Qingyun repeated it in his heart several times, with a bright smile on his face. Thank you, Comrade Li Jiaoyang, I remember your name. Go and take care of your sister and nephew. Li Jiaoyang left with an empty kettle. Feng Qingyun bowed deeply in the direction he left, and told Feng Qingxiu everything after she woke up. There are evil people and good people in the world. When we meet evil people, we should not forget the spirit of fighting against them. When we meet good people, we must remember the kindness we have received. Feng Qingxiu touched her sister's hair. As human beings, we should have good thoughts in our hearts. Although good may not be rewarded, evil will definitely be punished. Sister, eat something to fill your stomach. You have vomited up what you ate at noon. Feng Qingyun did not have the patience to listen to her sister's preaching. At this moment, she was only concerned about her sister's health. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1108. After eating a few bites of apples and biscuits, Feng Qingxiu held a piece of ginger in her mouth. After a long time, Feng Qingxiu didn't spit it out. Feng Qingyun was so surprised that she almost shed tears. It seems to be very effective. The conductor will come to sell things later, so we will buy some biscuits and some fruits if there is any. I also have to thank Li Jiaoyang. Buying biscuits is easy, as long as you have food stamps, but fruits are hard to come by. Gluttonous eaters like Zibao and Fuebao swallowed hard without saying they wanted to eat. Feng Qingxiu was both relieved and distressed, and distributed some biscuits to them, including Feng Qingyun. The weather is hot and it goes bad after a long time. Mom can't finish eating. Can Zibao and Fuebao help Mom eat? The children didn't understand whether the adults meant it or not. Seeing Feng Qingxiu stopped vomiting, they also became happy. When she said she couldn't finish it, they happily ate the crispy biscuits. However, Feng Qingyun had become sensible and refused to eat, so Feng Qingxiu had no choice but to give up. In front of the children, Feng Qingxiu didn't eat much food, but behind her back, she would take out some fresh fruit and vegetable biscuits, and nutritional supplements from the space after they went to bed. You can't not eat it, otherwise you will lack nutrition. This pregnancy of hers is obviously not a child, and she needs more nutrition. She is responsible for herself and the child. Even so, when I got off the bus, I had lost a lot of weight. I only looked like I had a big belly, but my complexion was not very good. Oh, sister-in-law, how many months have you been here? Really, you didn't say anything in the telegram. Lu Zhang was not in the army. After receiving the telegram, Zhao Yong immediately arranged for Sang Hong to drive to pick up Feng Qingxiu. He saw her at first sight. He hurriedly picked up the luggage, turned around and put it in the car. Sister-in-law, it must be 5 or 6 months old, right? I've never heard from the army commander. Get in the car quickly, let's go back to the army and have a good rest. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, sorry to trouble you, Xiao Sang. Look what my sister-in-law said. What's the trouble? Sang Hong glanced at Feng Qingyun. Little sister, are you my sister-in-law's sister? You look very much like your sister-in-law. When you come to our army, it's like coming to your own home. Thank you, brother. Feng Qingyun's mouth was also very sweet. Get in the car, let's go back to the army. Your house has been cleaned long ago when the army commander is not here. Oh, sister-in-law, while you and the army commander were away, the wires were pulled out in the family compound and installed directly for you. Feng Qingxiu nodded and said, I know, I've left you all to worry about. Sang Hong touched his head and giggled for a moment, don't worry, don't worry. See, sister-in-law, you are so polite. You won't really forget our comradeship after leaving the army for a few months, right? There are also Zibao and Fuebao, don't you know each other? Uncle. Uncle Sang, Zibao finally remembered who the person in front of him was, and his memory was commendable. Fu Bao followed the shout obediently, which made Sang Hong so happy that he hugged Fu Bao and refused to let go. By the way, Xiao Sang, you said Ajiang is not in the army? Where did he go? He came back in late May, and it's already July. Feng Qingxiu quickly grasped the information in Sang Hong's words. Sang Hong said without hesitation, the army commander has carried out his mission. I don't know the details. I know the rules of the army, and I won't ask you about the secrets of the army casually. Let's get in the car and go back quickly. When we arrived at the army, we could always find someone who could ask for some information, Feng Qingxiu thought to herself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1109. Sang Hong, as if he had received an amnesty, hurriedly carried his two children to the car one after another, and got into the driver's seat. That's it for Zibao and Fuebao. Either they have never seen a car or flown on an airplane, but they probably don't have a deep impression. Feng Qingyun was extremely curious, her eyes widened, she wiped the sweat from her palms on her pants, carefully touched the car seat, the car door and the glass window on the door, her face pressed against the glass looking out the window. He turned back to Feng Qingxiu and said, Sister, I actually took a car. A car. When I get home, they will be jealous to death. I was already very excited about taking the train, but I didn't expect that I could also take a car. Feng Qingxiu was worried that she would feel uncomfortable in the car, so she didn't eat for 2 hours before getting off the car. After listening to her sister's words, she stroked her queasy chest and said with a smile, Yes, it's a car. It was the first time to ride in a car. Even though the mountain road was rugged and the bumps made her butt hurt, Feng Qingyun felt a little reluctant when she got out of the car. She kept looking back at the car that Sang Hong drove to a stop in the distance. Feng Qingxiu couldn't stop laughing. My health was very good, I didn't vomit along the way, but the bumps were a bit uncomfortable. Breathing the familiar air, Feng Qingxiu felt very comfortable. She flicked her sister's nose sideways and said, Okay, look at your stupidity. When you grow up, you can earn money to buy a car and drive it by yourself. Sister, you are laughing at me again. It's not like I don't know that the car rationing system has levels. Only those with a level like my brother-in-law will be allocated a car and guards by the army. Feng Qingyun is not easy to fool. Yes, the municipal party committee cotters did not reach a certain level, and there was no rationing of cars. Chengbao owned it, but the economy of Huihei City was backward, so he didn't want it. The military camp is so big, and the family home is so big. Where is our home? What's the matter? Is it a mud house? It has a flat roof. Aren't you afraid of rain? Feng Qingxiu explained, that's not a cellar, it's called a daiwozi. There is very little rain here, so you don't have to worry even if it rains. Sang Hong stopped the car, followed behind with his luggage, and said with a smile, Sister-in-law, you and my little sister take the Zibao Fuebao and go home to rest quickly. Our place will not change. My little sister can come out to see it anytime. Thank you, brother Sang Hong, Feng Qingyun already knew Sang Hong's name in the car, and also knew about the military camp and the family home. Smart and beautiful girls are naturally easily liked by everyone. Before they even arrived at the door, Yang Fengying and Fang Ning came up to them, one on each side, holding Feng Qingxiu in their arms, and said in unison, "I didn't hear you say you were pregnant when I left. Why is your belly so big when you come back? It's been 3 months. We didn't find out about the pregnancy until we were on vacation. The fetus was unstable and I took 10 sets of miscarriage pills." After hearing Feng Qingxiu's words, everyone present except Feng Qingyun opened their mouths wide. 3 months? Are you coaxing me? You haven't even shown pregnancy in 3 months. I have never eaten pork and have seen pigs running away. Besides, Fang Ning and Yang Fengying are used to seeing pregnant military family members recently, so they can probably estimate out of the month. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled, then looked down at her belly. It's probably not the same baby, so it looks bigger. Before, Wu Zheng couldn't confirm whether they were twins when he checked his pulse, but now he is absolutely sure that they are not the same child. Are they twins? Fang Ning blurted out, and immediately smiled. Zibao and Fuebao are already cute enough, and a pair of identical twins will definitely be even cuter, especially when they are dressed the same. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1110. Although Bai Shui was extremely bored, she often wandered around and got the news a little late, so she arrived a step late. When she arrived at Feng Qingxiu's house, she was slightly startled when she heard them discussing the twins with great interest. After listening carefully for a while, Bai Shui finally understood that they were talking about Feng Qingxiu being pregnant with twins, and immediately said, "Zibao and Fuebao's younger siblings are of course cute, and they will definitely not be as arrogant and domineering as comrade Sujunlin's twin sons. I'm bored to death and can't wait to get back to work on the art team." Bai Shui's words revealed a lot of information. Feng Qingxiu thought to herself. Fu Bao, with his sharp ears, heard Bai Shui's words and immediately said loudly, "Brother, it's a brother, not a sister." "Why not a sister?" Bai Shui teased her, "you are so beautiful and cute. You have inherited your mother's beauty. Now you are a little beauty, and when you grow up, you will be a big beauty. You have 2 sisters just like you and your mother. Beautiful, isn't it great? Anyway, the Lu family has a smart Zibao, so there is no shortage of sons." Fu Bao said angrily, "It's my younger brother, it's my younger brother, Mom, it's my younger brother. We won't find out until we are born that we are younger siblings." Feng Qingxiu comforted her daughter, "Don't worry, Fu Bao. Whether it is a younger brother or a sister, Fu Bao must be the one that Mom loves the most." "Who says Fu Bao is Mom's Fu Bao?" Fu Bao was made happy. Bai Shui saw the grass beads on her neck and wrists. "Fuebao, your necklace and bracelet are so beautiful. Who made them for you?" "Mom." Fu Bao touched his necklace and suddenly said with a sad face, "Mom, I didn't bring back my beads. There are so many beads. I can make many necklaces." Feng Qingxiu was speechless. They tried to minimize their luggage during this trip and had long forgotten about Cao Zhu's existence. Seeing Feng Qingxiu's appearance, Fuebao knew that he had been right. He flattened his mouth and was about to burst into tears. Bai Shui hurriedly said, "Fuebao, Fuebao, don't cry. I have a beautiful necklace. It's much prettier than your necklace made of broken grass beads. Can I give it to you?" Fu Bao didn't cry after hearing this, but he was still choked with sobs. "I'm not being rewarded." "No reward for no merit," Zibao reminded from the side. "Oh, no reward for no merit. But what do you mean no reward for no merit?" After Fu Bao said this to Bai Shui, he also forgot the reason why he was crying. He climbed onto the Kong and looked inside. He rolled over and leaned on the small pillow. "Wake up, Fu Bao wants to take a sleep." Fang Ning and Yang Fengying stood up one after another. "Qingxiu, you are tired from the journey, please take a rest first. Okay, let's get together again after we have regained our energy. Feng Qingxiu was really tired, so she was not polite to them. She was too tired to get off the bed, so she asked her sister and Zibao to see them off. Feng Qingyun sent them out of the small courtyard. Sisters, please go slowly. Come and play with my sister when you have free time. Bye. Zibao waved his hands vigorously. Yang Fenying heard Feng Qingyun's voice for the first time. It was crisp, sweet, and her eyes lit up. Fang Ning didn't pay attention, touched Zibao's bald head, and said to Feng Qingyun, "Don't give it away. We are not outsiders. Go back and take care of your sister. It must be very hard for your sister to be pregnant with twins. Okay, sisters, let's go slowly." After watching them leave, Feng Qingyun took Zibao back to the house and found that her sister had fallen asleep in this short period of time.